This is an important announcement for anyone thinking about advertising here on Everyone Loves Guitar. We've experienced incredible growth. We currently have over 82,000 monthly listens, and I would anticipate cracking six figures in the next few months. We've also grown our YouTube subscriber base by 72 times. During this time, we've kept our advertising rates consistent, but I wanted to let you know we'll be increasing these rates after the first of the new year. So if you're a business looking to generate new leads or increase your cash flow by adding new clients or customers, or if you're looking for general brand exposure, or if you're a label looking to promote new music and you want to lock into the current advertising rates before they go up at the end of this year, then listen closely. Fill in the short form at everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/advertise. Even if you want to advertise next year, contact us now and you'll get to lock into the current rates before they go up at the end of this year. Thanks for listening. See you soon. If you want to buy or sell a home or investment property and you're here in the Tampa Bay area, in Hillsborough, Pinellas, or Pasco counties, then listen up. West Florida Real Estate is a local residential real estate broker that's helped over 250 Bay Area homeowners buy and sell their properties in the last 4 years alone. If you're looking to sell, you'll want to get their free report, The 7 Biggest Mistakes Homeowners Make When Hiring a Realtor. And if you're looking to buy a property, you definitely want to get your hands on the 21 Most Expensive Mistakes Tampa Home Buyers Make When Buying a Home. Each one of these reports is going to save you time and money. Inside, you'll discover the 7 most important things to consider when hiring a realtor, what to do if you're buying and selling a home at the same time, and the danger of choosing a realtor who agrees with everything you say. To get your hands on these free reports, head on over to westfloridarealestate.com. That's westfloridarealestate.com. Hey, this is Craig. If you like this show and you want to support it and you want to keep it free, head on over to everyonelovesguitar.com/support. That's everyonelovesguitar.com/support. Hey, everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. And today we're going to do justice to the rhythm section. We have Vail Johnson. He is look at his wall of fame right behind him, or his gold and platinum records. Before we get started, Vail's a super successful bass player. And before we get started, a couple of quick announcements. Number one, thank you, Doug Bossy, for hooking Vail and I up. Doug, at this point in time, has a wing named after him here at Everyone Loves Guitar Compound. Also, don't forget to subscribe to us on wherever you get podcasts, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel because you can now watch the videos on YouTube. All righty, Vail Johnson, top LA session bass player, writer, and vocalist, who's also a band leader and a solo artist. His music appears in film, TV, and on 6 solo CDs, including his new one, The Seventh Son. He's played constantly, even as a member of as many as 10 bands at any given time. He's got a very cool musical lineage here. His family's lineage includes Metropolitan Opera singers, symphony players, Broadway musical producers. His grandma, Eine?
Yeah, Eine.
Grandma Eine played the Wurlitzer in silent film movie theaters.
Yep.
He's got magicians, traveling minstrels, carnival folk, and Cornelius the Cat. This is everything here today, man. And this is the one where we all need to bow down to his parents because he's the youngest of 7 boys. All right. And each one mastered 4-part harmonies in choir and live performances, playing in a popular Seattle Dixieland band and touring internationally through Asia, entertaining troops on Air Force bases with top 40 music. Vail added jazz to this medley with jazz studies at University of Washington. Moving to LA, he formed his own jazz bands, playing with renowned Latin and fusion jazz artists and touring internationally, playing every major jazz festival around the world. As a session player, he's recorded or toured with Kenny G, Frank Gambale, Herbie Hancock, Stevie Nicks, Keb Mo, George Benson, Michael Bolton, Gil Scott-Heron, which is interesting, MC Hammer, Steve Perry, Arsenio Hall, Christopher Cross, David Cassidy, Young MC, Edgar Winter, Carmine Appice, who is on this show, and dozens of other major artists. Did you know that Carmine and his 2 brothers, they each pronounce their last name differently?
And I know, yeah. Carmine, he always told me Appice, and it's like some say.
You're right. It's
Carmine's Appice.
Yeah, I had Vinny on the show. Vinny's Appice, Carmine's Appice, and then there's another brother. It's Appice. You imagine? I thought my family gatherings were dysfunctional, but could you imagine that? throw all, throw all this into a blender, and what do you get? Vail electrifies audiences with virtuosity, passion, and humor in Around the World in 40 Years. That's his brand new solo show, which is really badass with loopers, and he sings and does a lot of really cool stuff. And it's an evolving production of music and stories, which is I always like, from worldwide performances and recording studios as a solo artist, and again telling stories of all the people he recorded. So let's get into this. Vail, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Craig. I appreciate that.
What bass you got? That's a very cool looking bass. I love that, like canary yellow.
This is one of my Kubickies. Kubicki
Cool.
X Factor, made in the mid '80s. Yeah, this one's kind of a nuclear yellow. It was a custom finish that Phil made for me. And,
really cool looking, man.
In person, it's really something. Yeah, it's many layers of pearlescent and all that in there. But yeah, Phil did some really amazing work.
Oh, and let me just tell everybody, what you should do is, after you listen to this, you have a video, man, of you on Arsenio Hall.
It's the one I'll never live down, with the mullet and the hammer pants.
Oh, but that was the time frame. But what you were doing on the bass, man, that was just freaking amazing. That blew my mind, man. Everybody gotta check that out. All right, let's get into this. Tell me about your family as far as like their musical involvement. And I know you come from a long lineage. You said before we started, on your mom's side up to her grandmother. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, my mom and her mom and mom's mom were all professional musicians. And I think one of the more interesting things to me was finding out, not that long ago, finding out about my mom's first forays into being a professional musician. And we're talking in the Depression, this is the early 30s. My mom is now like 15 or 16, and she's traveling around with her mom playing in saloons. So they both played banjo and piano, and they sang, and they had this duo, and they traveled around hopping freight trains, literally.
Holy crap.
Hopping rides on freight trains. Two women in the 30s in rural Montana, hopping around and traveling and playing saloons for money. And it was, which I just find fascinating. Every time I think, things are tough, like we just got done doing 7 shows in 6 days in 6 cities. Just this last week, I got back yesterday thinking, oh man, this is tough. But, we're riding on the bus, flying on the private plane or whatever. And I'm thinking back to riding on a freight train in 100-degree heat and, having to, you got 2 young women. Because I think my mom, my grandmother was, like 16 or 17 when
she had your mom.
When she had my mom. And so,
wow.
So she's, 33, 34. And they actually, I believe that their act was actually, they billed themselves as sisters. And it was like a sisters act.
Wow. Yeah, that's really smart.
And so they got around doing these saloons, and who knows what kind of, mayhem they had to deal with, doing that. But she did that. I mean, so that's because you had to. I mean, they had musical skill, and there was no other way of making money, And so they were out doing that. That was rough, So every time we're out there traveling, we're thinking, oh man, this flight's late. I'm like, right, yeah, great. We're not in a boxcar.
Yeah.
Rumbling down, trying to figure out how we're gonna get some food. I mean, that is some serious touring.
In looking back, you said you found this out recently. Was your mom like I would imagine she's a really strong person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You have to have a lot of character to survive something like that, especially in the third. I mean, just being a woman as a musician during that time.
Yeah.
Was not really heard of.
Right. Yeah. I can't imagine what they had to go through.
Yeah. That's really cool, man.
She's really strong. And she, and she supported all of us, all the boys. We were all, it's like the feeling around the house wasn't were you going to be a musician? It was just, what instrument are you going to choose?
For everybody, that was
it was just kind of foregone conclusion as far as everything I remember, being the last one. It was just everybody played a musical instrument, and everybody took it seriously and was passionate about it. And I did the same thing, and we all went on to professional careers, And
all of you became
yeah,
professionals.
yeah.
Wow.
And all in different disciplines. So we expressed our individuality in that way, but everybody in a different discipline. It was really, really kind of wild.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to somebody recently that, if I remember correctly, they played bluegrass, and it's the same thing in bluegrass families, right? Yeah. And he said it was really weird. I got to kindergarten or first grade, and I was saying, "Oh, what instrument do you play?" And he goes, "I was shocked. I thought everybody played." And did you have something like that? Because
I guess it was different than that, I guess, but it was just a great environment to experiment with music and try different instruments. Nobody stuck with the first thing they tried. I started on trumpet.
Oh, wow.
And actually probably because my next older brother, Barry, also played trumpet. So I started on that and played that from elementary school up through sophomore year in high school, actually.
That's a long time.
Yeah. But I started playing bass in junior high, and that definitely took over. That was way more fun.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's interesting. How did you first get started in the music business, and like maybe what was your first big break or break period?
Well, I remember my first gigs were actually playing school assemblies. The first gigs, we got paid money.
Did you?
To play in junior high? We're playing the school assemblies or school dance, that kind of thing. We were doing that kind of stuff. And but then my first, what I call an actual professional gig, it was actually a union gig, was with two of my older brothers at a bar in Pioneer Square in Seattle, a place called the Blue Banjos. My oldest brother owned the place, and he was a really great Dixieland banjo player. And so I started in with them the summer out of high school. I had to join the union, so technically I could be in the bar legally as a union member. And of course, I had to leave the premises during the breaks. I never hung out inside or had any beer. It was all legit.
Really?
All aboard. Yeah. But it was hilarious. I think I did that for the first night I went outside, and then it was a free for all, man. It was so much.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine your brother being like, "Get out of the bar."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that wouldn't. I just couldn't see that, man. Especially a family as close as yours, man.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing we didn't have the union reps coming down and checking anything.
That's that. You know what? I'm just thinking as a parent, if my youngest is getting drunk at night, but he's with his 7 brothers, I'd probably be like really okay with that. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
It
was a good thing.
Yeah. You're in good hands. You're playing. I mean,
yeah, we were playing, and we played Friday and Saturday night every week, and did that for a couple of years before I ventured out into doing, top 40 bar band stuff, which back then, in the late 70s, early 80s, you could make a living. We were playing 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
In Holiday Inns or wherever. I mean, every hotel had a bar and had a band,
Yeah.
Back in those days, at least in the Northwest. I mean, so there were tons of gigs that players now don't have the benefit of that at all. There's no place to play
I know.
Like that anymore.
It's really hard to make a living now, as you know. I mean, it's just, What was Seattle like before it became like musically what we know Seattle to be like today?
Right. Well, I know Pioneer Square, where we were, right in the heart of downtown, was really pretty seedy. It was just known for, homeless people, everybody would just, and then people called them winos, however you want to refer to people that are, indigent or out on the street.
Yeah.
And drunk all the time. And it was kind of a seedy sort of a scene down there at the time. So it was, it was pretty earthy, I'd say.
Yeah.
Back then, there was nothing, cool about Seattle downtown, yet.
Yeah. Interesting.
This is pre-grunge, of course, and so that was the mass exodus of Californians coming up to Seattle, which changed it, to what it is now, basically California. Essentially,
that's what Vegas is, basically California.
yeah. So they spread out, and
I heard that.
I thought it was pretty cool then. I think I kind of liked it then. I really hate the weather because it does rain so much, but not like rain here in Tennessee where we, or lots of places in the South. I was just down in Houston when there was flooding down there, last week it doesn't rain like that in Seattle. It's just like a constant drizzle. It's just wet and gray and like everything smells like mildew,
Wow.
It's just constantly wet, so I don't like that so much. It's no fun.
Does any of your family still live there?
Two of my brothers are still living.
In Seattle.
Yeah.
What made you move to LA? What prompted that? And how did you get work when you first got there?
Well, I had already hooked up with Kenny G back in '86 because he's a Seattle guy. And so it was a Seattle band. And I met him through the guy that was playing percussion for him at the time, Tony Gable, who was, his sideline was he was a graphic designer. That's what he went to school for. And back in that day in '86, if you wanted business cards, you had to have someone create a template physically for a business card,
Yeah.
have them, design something specific, and so I went to Tony Gable to have him design a business card, and I was doing a solo project and I was putting out cassettes. And so I wanted to design a logo, a logo and my name and something cool for that. And so I hooked up with him, and he came down and saw me play at this sleazy blues bar in Seattle. I was playing in a really good blues band at the time called the Reputations. And he came down and really dug what I was doing, and he told Kenny about me. Kenny came down, and then I didn't know. He like came down on a covert recon. I said, "Oh, what's this dude all about? I'm hearing things about this guy." And he came down, and then he called me up. He got my number from Tony. Called me up and asked me to come over and do a session at his studio, because he had already had 4 albums out on Arista by that point. But I didn't really know anything. I'd heard his name, but it wasn't my style of music. I was kind of the harder fusion things and jazz rock fusion stuff. But so I hooked up with him and I did the session, and they asked me to join the group.
So you've been with him for 33 years.
Joined up in '86. Yeah.
Holy shit! Congratulations. That's like.
Oh, it's really nuts.
It's amazing.
So then we both moved down at the same time back in '87. We moved down to LA.
Wow. Obviously for more opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And to be where the scene was.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit. I didn't know you were with Kenny that long. That's amazing, man.
Oh yeah. It's nuts. It's like, a lot of the guys I've played with, the bands over the years have been with for 10 or more years, doing the gigs when I can, like, out with Frank Gambale, all through the '90s. I was played in his band, when I could, or
right.
Eric Marienthal and guys like that. And so, it's, I've juggled a lot of different groups in LA up until the early 2000s when music kind of died. There wasn't a time when I wasn't playing with somebody.
Yeah.
It's like I'd filled up my local calendar all the time, and then I'd go out on the road. And it was a great time to be in LA. There's a lot of music, a lot of stuff happening.
What do you attribute your longevity to?
Well, I think I'm able to adapt to whatever the situation is, and find a way to still be who I am, but I can adapt musically to just about anything, because I just love music of all kinds. And when I get in a band, I really study the music. If it's a style I don't feel like I'm great at, I'll study and learn it. Like when I first hooked up with a Latin jazz guy in LA, very, very well known in Latin jazz, Freddie Ravel. I didn't know that much about it. And so I studied, and he helped me, and I studied Latin music, and I studied, this great Cuban bass player, Cachao, and all these guys, and really got into it. And I think that makes a big difference. I didn't come in and want to play a Latin gig like it's a pop rock gig or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I really want to be completely authentic as much as possible. So with regard to the sound, I mean, I got an electric upright, and I'm I'm doing all of this, doing the Latin thing, and I'm really trying to be as genuine as I possibly can be for the band. You know, it's the same like when I hooked up with Keb Mo when I got here in 2010, moved to Nashville in 2010. And I hooked up with Keb Mo. I mean, I studied his music, but not only that, I studied, you know, I talked to him about, you know, who his influences were. And, you know, and listening to, you know, Robert Johnson and stuff like that. So I went back to all of that because I wanted to get in, you know, kind of get in his head. Like, what is it that, you know, you really like, you know? So I studied the music. I studied the music that the artist likes.
Yeah, yeah. And
so I can come at it from that angle, and I think people really like that. That's my strategy.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, when you go to, you know, and someone you're working with, you say, hey, I want to learn more about that. They've got to like be really excited about your interest in that and enthusiasm. They got to, I would imagine that like something they really, yeah, I would think somebody really, I mean, that's a huge commitment. You know, that's a very genuine thing on your part to do.
Yeah. It just kind of made sense to me. It wasn't, I didn't start out doing that as a strategy so much as just, that was, I just need to, okay, you're hiring me to do that. I need to know everything I can about that. Or, you know, I was doing a record with Edgar Winter, you know, back in the day. And it's like, okay, I got to go back and listen to all that. I got to listen to the white trash horns. I got to listen to all of this stuff and approach it, you know, in that way. And I think people do appreciate that. That seems to work.
I would imagine. Yeah. I'm just thinking now, what a great idea that is. I'm trying to figure out myself how I could use that in things. I'm glad you told me. That's why I like doing these interviews. I always learn something every day. That's a really good thing. Who was guitar player for Edgar back then?
Rick Derringer.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
That was fun.
I've talked with several people that have played with Rick, like Neil Giraldo. I know a couple of other people, and they all said he is just such a great player and such a good guy to be around.
Oh yeah, he can play a little bit.
Yeah,
he can play a little bit.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So from reading your bio, I got the sense that you've got a very extensive jazz background. I was curious, how did that come about? And was that the thing you were interested in most when you were coming up? Like you just said, fusion or hardcore jazz more?
No, when I was coming up, I mean, I was totally, first early influence were the Beatles. Because when I heard that music, I heard Paul McCartney's playing and the bass lines literally just jumped out of the cassette deck.
Yeah.
The bass was, to me, it was just the loudest thing. It was just like, wow, the bass just grabbed me, totally grabbed me. And that's when I knew I wanted to play bass. And so the next big influence for me was Zeppelin. So I was really getting into hard rock stuff. So Zeppelin and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Yes were the biggest ones for me. And then when I heard Kansas a little later on, I thought Kansas was fantastic. That bass player was killer. I'm pretty sure sounds like a P bass with a pick for most of it. I'm thinking that's what he's doing, but so I was getting that style and we're learning Chris Squire stuff, so I learned how to play with the pick early on. So I could manipulate the strings in a million different ways to get different sounds. And so I still play with the pick sometimes. I like the sound of that for certain things,
Sure.
So anyway, so Zeppelin, we get into Kansas. So I'm doing that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden I hear, I'm at a party and I'm in college and I already heard Stanley Clarke. And I was interested in that sort of fusion stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool. And he was doing the slapping thing. And I thought that was really neat. And I'm sitting there trying to do that on my Rickenbacker, flat Rick, and it really didn't work because there's a pickup right there at the end of the fingerboard. It really didn't work, but trying that. But I'm at a party at the University of Washington and somebody puts on a Larry Graham Central.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
And I hear that and my eyes just got huge and I start looking around the house. I go searching for the record player because there's speakers everywhere and I'm running. Where's this coming? What is this?
That's
and
cool.
I found out what that was. And I remember the song. And that's why I had this out. This would be great.
Awesome. Yeah.
It was called Turn It Out. And the bass line was like this. I never heard anything that funky after.
Oh man.
And I'm like, what is this? I need to know what this is.
Vail, I got goosebumps, man. That sounded so freaking great, man. Thank you. Wow.
And it was that style, and so I got into that, and I dissected every nuance and all the little greasy slides and fills and grace notes and all that stuff. It just blew me away. So at that point, I went funk. I went funk all the way. So I was totally into that stuff, man, into that early funk stuff from the early 80s, mid 80s. Even it was all about the funk, man. So I got this hard rock stuff. I got this lyrical Beatles thing in my head, and now I got this funk thing in there, and it was just a weird amalgam of all these things, So.
Dude, that sounded like my nipples got hard. I mean, seriously, man, that was like
it's greasy and funky, man. But I would sit there with the record player and and you could slow them down, because you got an album, a 33 and a third, and you got a record player. A lot of them would have the 16.
It's 16, yeah.
Slow down to half speed, but you still got to be picking up the needle constantly, back and forth and back and forth. But I'm listening to how he tried to get it's just the inflections and the slides and grace notes and where he hits it. It just makes everything, And so and that's what I was like with every bass player, that whatever style it is, I listen to the bass player and I try to listen to all the tiniest little intricacy is really important to me. And so I would learn all that. I got into that when I started getting into Tower Power, Rocco Prestia. His it's like every little thing really means something to me, so I would just really try to nail their sound. And then the Stanley Clarke thing I got totally into.
Oh, he was,
that was really fun, so yeah, it's all
wow. It was really amazing. Wow. When you just played both of those riffs, it sounded like two different dudes. I mean, it was like, I was watching it, but it was like you started speaking a different language almost for both of them.
Yeah. It is almost, it is. Let me, let's see. I'm running off camera for a second here.
That was cool, man. Thank you. Wow, that was so badass. Oh my God.
but then you go back to you go back in time to
Oh, Chris Squire, yeah.
Chris Squire stuff with the pick. And
yeah.
It's all good. So I just try to learn everything. Every song.
Yeah. I was lucky. I saw them down here, like probably about a year before Chris Squire died. They played the whole album with Roundabout on it. They played through the whole. It was really amazing. Really something else. Wow. Thank you, man. That was so freaking cool, dude. Honestly, man. Holy shit. I was like, wow, that was just mesmerizing, man, to watch and to hear you. That was just really cool. Thank you.
Yeah. But it's kind of the same thing. I did that recently, just, 2010. It seems like 2010 was last year, recently, 9 years. I
did that recently. I know, man. I know. Time's freaking running.
When I hooked up with Keb Mo, I wouldn't consider myself, at that point, I wouldn't have considered myself a blues player. Yeah. But I dove headfirst into that, and I even dove into his technique and applied that to bass, so I could kind of get inside that thing, because like a lot of the old Robert Johnson stuff. I mean, it's all the thumb has the pulse, and then the fingers are doing other things. So I worked up stuff like
Wow.
You know, that kind of thing. It's like, man,
dude, I'm gonna just shut up and let you talk and play because I got nothing here, man. Seriously, this is like where it's at. Wow.
So I can hardly wait till the next thing that gets me to go in another direction. You know, I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be something.
What made you move to Tennessee? Just California was enough was enough?
Enough was enough. Yeah. I was there 23 years and my wife and I were really hating it. And it's the crowd, this overall angst that's just in the air. Everybody's, you know, there's just this pressure there, you know, everybody's angry and tense all the time. And, you know, you get shot at on the freeway, you know, it's like, it's nuts, man. I mean, my wife got assaulted on the freeway by a truckload of guys they were stuck in traffic, and
oh my God, I'm
truckload
sorry.
of guys, you know, like in a work truck, and with a couple of gals in there too, and they were throwing beer bottles at her car and stuff, and it's just, that's it. I'm done.
Wow, I'm sorry, man. That's awful.
I've had enough. You know?
Yeah, man. That's
thankfully, I mean, that, you know, nobody got hurt, and that's all good. But you know, I sure wasn't going to wait for that.
No, but why should you have to? That's not what life's about, man. You shouldn't have to do. Nobody.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, man.
Then there was the gang guy that I had to try to save when he walked up into my front yard with just covered in blood with a stab wound. He'd just gotten stabbed around the corner.
Holy crap.
He was walking down the street just in shock, looking for help. And I'm like, what the, you know? And so this dude, I'm calling the aid car and I'm trying to stop the bleeding. And he had just gotten gutted, man. And it's like, yeah.
Time to go. Yeah, you're not going to run into that in Nashville. You're probably safe to
not in Franklin, that's for damn.
Definitely not in Franklin.
Not in Franklin, you know.
Wow, man.
I wouldn't live downtown Nashville on a bet.
Oh no,
that's just not my thing.
No, it's totally packed.
I don't want to be in the middle of it anymore.
No, I get it.
Plus, because when I travel, I mean, there's a lot of times when I'm in the middle of it without any choice. You know?
Yeah, sure.
We go. I mean, we go to some really interesting and challenging places. You know, I mean, we were in Beirut last year. You know.
Wow.
We played
with Kenny.
With Kenny, yeah. You know, I mean, we've been to Nigeria and
holy crap.
South Africa, and we've been to Venezuela, you know, and that was a long time ago. But even when we went to Caracas, this was 20 years ago, we were sequestered in the hotel. We were not allowed.
You couldn't leave the hotel.
Yeah, we were not allowed for our own safety. They were saying, you know, because it's kidnappings from ransom, you know, so they would kidnap foreigners. It was just a normal thing. The same thing in Malaysia. So we had armed guards with us 24 hours a day in Malaysia because there's a lot of kidnappings going on. You know,
didn't you almost want to turn on and say, dude, we're musicians?
Yeah. Right.
You want to kidnap somebody for money, you know, we're not really good. We're not the guys that you can, you know, do your homework.
Yeah, right.
Kidnappers. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. So we would have, you know, armed guards with us. And I remember it was sobering when our Venezuelan security detail was telling us that, you know, it's one thing to have, you know, just some ordinary criminals, civilians and criminals. He said the real problem is if you get stopped by the police, because they're the most corrupt.
Oh, everybody's on the take.
Murderous, because when they take you, you disappear.
Holy crap.
As soon as they get any money, or if they decide that there's no money forthcoming, you disappear. And this was coming straight from Venezuelans. And I'm like, I'm staying in the hotel.
Yeah, man, you don't need to be told twice to do that.
And the only reason the police didn't bother us is because we had guys that were on official duty, this professional courtesy, if you will, you know, between, you know, I think our guys were probably ex-police or you know, military. And so they would leave you alone, you know, but if we didn't have that, yeah. Oh, it was rough, man. We landed at the airport in Lagos, Nigeria, and we landed at night. And this scene, it was mayhem at the airport. And we have guys there. We had at least 10 security guys, AK-47s, and big dudes wearing all black suits wearing sunglasses at night, but they
No,
got
wait.
their.
One thing, just to interrupt you. This is provided by the promoter, or right? You.
Yes.
This is not on your dime. You guys' dime,
yes,
right? Yeah. Okay.
yeah. It's part of the deal. Yeah. That's so. So
Holy
we get in the
shit.
vehicle, and we had a couple of open bed trucks that are, kind of like pickup trucks in a way, but where our luggage and equipment were going. And so as soon as we get in the vehicles, then people are trying to steal the equipment. And so we had guys in there that jumped in the truck trying to get it. And then we have this dude jumped in the hood of our van with his AK yelling at us. And we had a dude inside the van with he's pointing, and they're yelling back and forth at each other. And that was the only time out of all the weird stuff I've been in, I actually recorded a message on my phone. I said, well, honey,
I don't mean to laugh. I'm like,
I wasn't planning on going out like this, but it's looking pretty tense right now. And everybody else was just stone cold, just like, what is
holy crap?
And our guys were just louder and more forceful, and we got out. But I got some good pictures of those guys. They were really cool, and obviously necessary.
Holy shit.
Yeah, there's a good 10 guys, and we were there for a number of days, did a couple of gigs, and so they got to be friendly.
Oh my God. It's like you're a bass player, man. You're not like, a spy or like, working for the government. This is crazy that you're having to deal with it. Wow. Yeah, I can see your desire to be in like
it's all relative. It's all relative, man.
Holy crap.
Relatively speaking, we were rich people.
Yeah.
On the serious side, we're rich there. Wow. Because it's when you say dirt poor, it's literally dirt poor. We're on the roads leading to the hotel. It's literally people in, of course now LA's looking like that with the tents and stuff, but it's like that.
That's what everybody's telling me.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. But yeah, they're I think that the people I came to understand that the people there in Nigeria the people that have the money have all the money. Yeah. We have a disparity here that's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
It's far more broad.
Oh yeah, it's like 100 and 0.
Yeah. So the people without have nothing, and man, you gotta. I don't blame them for. I would do whatever I had to do.
I totally. Man, I get it. I went.
So anyway, that's just one of the experiences. We're going someplace to play, and you go through that, and it's a trip, man.
Wow, that is incredible. Many years ago, I went to the Dominican Republic. Probably this is late '80s, which is very poor at the time. I don't know that it's much better, and I'll never forget.
It's not any better.
It's not. Yeah, I didn't think so. I was walking through. Somehow we were in the woods or hike. It was a reasonably safe area because my buddy lived there. He knew where to go, where not to go, and I came across these kids with their mom. Mm-hmm. Kids were literally naked. Infants, not babies, infants, too. They were playing in the mud with sticks and stones, literally.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. And she was selling cashew nuts, I guess they grow them, and I don't know how cashew nuts grow, but they had these cashew nuts, and, I bought, whatever she had left, to be honest with you, because I'll never forget that. It was one of those kind of like yours, nothing dramatic like what you're going through, but it was like when you see that extreme poverty, it really like, like you said, it's like, what, when I'm stuck here on the bus, when things are slow in business, you could go back and say, wait a minute, there's a reason to be grateful, So,
yeah,
wow.
You're on the bus and the biggest complaint is, crap, we ran out of creamer for the coffee. It sucks, man.
This is bullshit. This is bullshit.
Yeah, this bullshit, man. Who drank the rest of the creamer? Right.
Yeah, man, I know what you're saying. Yeah, that's wild.
Who ate my Mounds bar? I put it in the freezer. Somebody ate my Mounds bar.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wow.
Man, the amount of international traveling that we've done, with Kenny and with others. I've been to a lot of different places, and it's really sobering, and it challenges your perspective.
Yeah.
On everything, really.
Yeah.
You know, it really does. So
I could see what I could. What's that?
It's great to have done that, and that's kind of part of, like, that's a natural segue into my show. You know, the Around the World in 40 Years.
Talk about that. What do you do? How does that?
It's drawing on the experiences I've had from, you know, the 5 million miles of flying and probably, you know, I don't know how many thousands of gigs I've done with dozens of different artists. And yeah, so I play music and tell stories about all of this.
This is some of the stuff you talk about in your show. It's really cool, man.
Yeah. So
have you ever thought of recording it? Have you ever recorded it?
No, I have. I've recorded video, just like live video of it. Yeah. Yeah,
like a DVD or what, you know, something.
Yeah,
like that.
I've got some of that. I'm doing it more and more now. So I think the next thing I want to incorporate as big a screen as I can manage to take with me, and have do slides.
Yeah.
Of all this different stuff. So when I'm talking about doing a gig, you know, with Herbie Hancock or something, I'll have a big picture of us up there.
Yeah, that would be great.
Stuff like that, or even video footage, you know, that can play during the song I'm doing, by George Duke or something. It could be, here's a video of us jamming or something, you know. So that's kind of my next thing. I'm still working on really getting this show really making it a great experience. But, you know, I've done it quite a few times, and in between the touring, I'm touring a lot still, you know, with Kenny. But I would love to be able to do my thing more as a full time.
That's great. I've seen a lot of shows with guys that have been on the road for a long time, like even the Eagles, not this last tour, but I saw them with my son, which was supposed to be their last tour, like 6 years ago.
Right.
It was in a big arena too, but they were telling stories. They each came out and told, and they had, it was really cool. And I've seen like Dave Mason does that. A lot of people that are, you know, baby boomers, older boomers doing that because they've had a lot of years and good years. And like, I don't know, I love hearing that stuff. And I got to believe most of the people in the audience do as well.
I think,
I think, I'm going to mention some of the artists you've worked for. If you could talk about maybe how you got the gig and a cool or interesting story about working with them. George Benson,
you know, met George back in '86 because he was managed by the same company that Kenny G was.
Oh, wow.
And so we started out, our first major tour was opening for George back in '86. And then '87 was the Whitney tour. And that was the really crazy breakout tour. But yeah, hooked up with George. And so I ended up playing some gigs in LA with him as well. I mean, Stanley Banks is his longtime bassist, and he's been there for might be 40 years.
Holy crap.
And or longer, for all I know. It could be. I mean, because George's like 75, 76 or something now. So yeah, it could be even more than 40 years. So Stanley's awesome. But you know, we did, you know, a couple of one-off things with him, but a ton of gigs together, you know, with Kenny and George on the same bill. Even as recent as, well, it's just about 2 years ago, we did another summer run with them, and George would come in and sing, you know, he'd sing a tune with us, and you know, and it was a lot of fun. I tell you what, man, he can still bring it. Yeah. George still brings it, and here's the funniest thing ever though is that I don't know if this is just a factor of I mean, I'm not as old as him, but I'm already feeling some differences in my, you know, my mental clarity and quickness. But the only time I heard George ever make any mistakes was on the easiest stuff. You know, when he gets out and he's soloing and it's just blazing and the band is cooking and he's freaking George Benson. He's awesome. But on the easiest stuff, I think he just is thinking about something else. You know, it's like on Breezin', you know, the lead line. Yeah. This one night, we're sitting there watching him and we're jamming. He's like, and we're like, what? You've played that 8,000 times. You know? And he's like, oh, shit. And he looks over at us like, oh, hey, brother. You know, sorry.
Wow.
Hilarious, man. It's so funny, but he can still he can be furiously great.
Yeah,
on
super talented guy, man.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's amazing how long you've known, like your camp has known his, his guys. You've been touring together since day one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. We've come to know each other pretty well. I was asking him, and George loves to talk. He loves to tell you a story about his life or his experience, and you just ask a question and then sit back, and it just comes flowing out of him. It's like I asked him one time. I said, "So George, did you ever have a chance to meet, or did you ever know Wes Montgomery? Or he goes, "Oh, brother, let me tell you about Wes." And it just go on to this whole thing, and then I was talking with Les Paul the other day. It's like talking about back then. It's unbelievable. It's crazy.
That's so cool, man.
He knows, but he's happy to share it. And he was telling us a story about when he first wanted to sing, on his records and stuff and promote singing, because he was a jazz phenom, right? And most people know him as kind of a pop R&B singer guy.
Smooth jazz, yeah.
But he was a fantastic, unbelievable, great jazz player. So when he wanted to sing, because he wanted to sing, he liked to sing. And he said that his management and a record company was all telling him, "No, man, don't bother with that. You're not really a singer anyway." They were telling him that way back then and resisting it. And he just said, "No, man, I want to sing. I want to do that." And that was kind of against everybody's advice. Can you believe that?
I can, because I've heard that from a lot of people. Actually,
see?
Yeah, I've heard that from so many people that this is what you do, and a lot of guys want to sing that are guitar players. They wanted to, they got something more to say.
Yeah.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, but it sure seemed to work out well.
Oh, hell yeah. MC Hammer.
Yeah.
That's where you got those pants from on Arsenio Hall show.
Right. That's the craziest thing ever. And I'm trying to think. I mean, was that a connection through Big Daddy Kane or some other rapper? Because I can't remember if that was first or Young MC. And if you don't remember Young MC,
I do.
He had that big, was his hit.
That was huge.
Go to a party, and all that.
Great song. Funny video. What's that?
I played on this Flea played on that record.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember that.
Young MC's Marvin Young is his name. On Marvin's next record, I played on that one. But
how did you get that gig?
I can't remember. Somebody called me. It was crazy because I had this visibility around LA, and we do these shows, over at Universal Amphitheater, which was a great venue there. That's where everybody would go. I mean, I met OJ, I met Magic Johnson. I mean, everybody come to those. So that's where I met Paula Abdul. Backstage at a show, and that's also where I met Stevie Nicks. Was after a show there, and they asked me to come in and do their music afterwards.
That's so freaking cool.
I mean, the Stevie Nicks thing was hilarious. So we're doing a gig at Universal Amphitheater. We're doing the encore. Kenny's out in the house doing his Pied Piper thing. It's on a funk tune, because early on we were a funk band originally. There was none of this. We didn't even play maybe one ballad in the set.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it was a funk band. We're playing. I think it was called Nighttime in Tribeca. It's like. And we're grooving like this, and he'll go out in the audience. It'll take 20 minutes, We're just jamming like this, And so we're playing a tune, and I hear this weird sort of high frequency jingling sound somewhere behind me. And I look over. I'm right next to the percussionist. He's on my right, and I'm looking at Ron. He's playing congas. I'm going, "What the hell?" There's Stevie Nicks is behind me. She had gone up to Ron's percussion set and taken one of his tambourines, and she's behind me playing the tambourine and twirling. She's wearing their dresses, and she's back there twirling and playing the tambourine. And I'm like, cool, I'm jamming. And I go back there, I'm like jamming with her, and it was just crazy, and she just showed up and wanted to do that. But then I got a call from her producer, Rupert Hine, and said she's doing a new album, The Other Side of the Mirror, and asked me if I'd come do that with us.
So you played on the record and did the tour.
Yeah, I didn't go on tour with Stevie.
You played on the album.
I did. Yeah, I did. Other Side of the Mirror, that record there.
Wow, that's phenomenal, man. That's great.
Yeah. So we, in fact, I went in and I replaced. It was just me. It was already done, but she wanted me to come in, and I ended up replacing most of the bass parts that were.
Oh wow, that's really cool. Just because she met you at this gig.
Yeah. So it's like all of my gigs have come from that stuff. That's where I met Arsenio. Backstage after a gig, and then he had his production people call me up and ask me to come on the show, as the musical guest. And
wow,
that's how that all worked. I mean, all of this stuff has all just come from somebody seeing me at a show and saying, either they recommend me for something with someone else or they personally themselves,
That's pretty cool, Vail, because
always worked out that way for me.
But as a bass player, maybe it is, and I'm just not aware of it. I bet that's not that common as it is with guitar players.
Probably isn't.
Yeah, man. That goes to the vibe you're putting out and your ability to get along with people, man. For sure.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, because I'm doing something more than just.
You're making people feel good.
Yeah.
You're making people feel good is what it is, man.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that's what I've been told by people. So
yeah, man. Good for you. That's awesome.
Whatever it is, they like that vibe,
So that's how, and so you hooked up through MC Hammer the same way through one of those guys, young MC or somebody referred you over there.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. There've been so many. There's so many that are not on that list. I mean, there's another couple of dozen that.
That's great, man.
I said this at one of my last shows that I did, my solo shows, and people got a kick out of it. I said, I'm fairly certain that I'm the only person in the world to have played with both David Cassidy and Gil Scott-Heron.
Yeah.
There's a cultural vibe, divide about this big.
Yeah, man.
And
sure.
And had a great time on both of them. But that's an unusual combination.
Yeah. No, it is a very unusual combination.
Where's the connecting point? And I guess it's me.
Yeah. Well, not to blow smoke.
I'm aware of.
Your ability to be that guy in each of these genres is really strong, and that's to all the work you do. That's those. Hey, man, let me study this kind of thing, because I bet you, if you didn't know David Cassidy's music, you were probably studying that too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, hell yeah, I did. Yeah. So I did.
What did you do with him?
I did his record called. It was a clever little twist. Old Trick, New Dog. He did a record. It was his comeback record. That was right before he ended up doing a pretty lengthy Vegas residency there.
Yeah,
so,
I remember that.
He did a record. So I played on the record. It was Rick Chudikoff was the producer, who I knew well, had done a lot of work for. He hired me for that. And then once I got on the gig, David asked me to be the music director for his live show. So I was the MD on that gig. And we did a couple of TV shows.
That's so cool.
That I'm actually the only person I know that's been on the Magic Hour. Remember that? It was Magic Johnson's late night try. I mean, the only worse late night show was the Chevy Chase one. That was
that was over before,
horrible, which I didn't play on.
Yeah,
but I did play on the Magic Hour with David Cassidy, and it was hilarious. And I don't know anybody, because it was a period of months that show was on.
It was that short,
like 6 months, 9 months, maybe.
So that's probably the only thing Magic Johnson did that didn't work, because that guy's been so. I mean, everything he's so successful.
And I didn't think he was bad. I mean, like Chevy Chase.
No worse than any. Hey, man, I seen that Craig Ferguson show. I thought it was awful, and that was on a long time, I think.
Yeah. But so we did that with David, and then we did a few gigs. We went to a few different different cities and did some live shows. So I was MD for that. But we also did another TV show. Who was it? Who's that comedian that is a germaphobe that is on a big...
Howie Mandel?
Yes, we did the Howie Mandel show.
That's so funny, man.
was hilarious. That was on the same set. It was across the hall from the Tonight Show. I remember that because I've done the Tonight Show a bunch of times with Kenny.
Right. Does he really like not shake your hand? He gives you like the fist bump.
Correct.
Yeah. You know what? I'm an old school. When people go to give me that, I'm like, I don't want to like shake my hand and say, "Hey, what's up?" Or that's like, what is this thing, man? I don't get it.
It's really uncomfortable for me when women or ladies who put up their fists. I'm like, I'm not
fist. Yeah, that's never
punching your fist. I'm not going to do that. But they do, especially at these shows, because we do that on stage, with the amongst us and the guys. So then the fans think, oh, they want to do that, but women do it. I'm like. Okay.
You do the pinky. You put your pinky out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do it with the guys in the band, well, especially me, the percussion. It's like we're punching each other.
Yeah.
I mean, we're hitting, we're hitting hard. It's like, okay, we're manned up.
Right.
I'm not doing that to some woman. I'm not going to.
I don't know. I'm still weird with that whole thing. Like if I see guys in the gym or whatever, and they give me the fist pump, I'm like, just like shake my hand. Like if you're happy to see me, just shake my hand. If not, it's fine. You can tell me to fuck off. I don't, but like the fist pump. That's almost like, what does that mean? Like,
Right. I guess it's the germaphobe way to do things.
Yeah. Don't shake my hand. Don't come near me if you have germs. I'm okay with that.
Or elbows.
It's just there's certain cultural things where you realize like, okay, I'm okay with I'm old and I don't get that. And that's one of them for me because I don't want to get that. It's just weird. I don't.
Right.
Like, if I haven't seen a guy in a long time, I expect to, hey, what's up? Give me a little hug.
Sure.
But the fist bump, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are the top 3 studio experiences that you've had? Just your knee-jerk reaction.
Okay. I'd say one of them was definitely with Stevie Nicks and Rupert Hine producing and engineering. That was just such an interesting time because Rupert Hine is a very famous British producer, old school guy, and very very buttoned down and serious and competent, and yet he's got a sense of humor that once it comes out, then it's just nonstop, silliness. So our session kind of turned into a Monty Python skit.
Yeah.
Like if anybody that likes Monty Python and likes that sort of British humor, it's very irreverent and seemingly
very dry.
Random. Yeah. And so that was really fun. And at one point, Stevie actually told us, "Would you guys just stop being so stupid?" Because she wasn't a fan of that humor. I find most women are not.
Most women are not a fan of juvenile guy stuff.
It's just silliness. Like John Cleese to me is hilarious. I love that stuff. But I thought that was really fun because here's this legendary producer guy, and we're trading back just ridiculousness while I'm sitting there playing. It's like, oh yeah, oh well, you think that's funny? Well, another thing, and we're sitting there tracking, and we're going at it,
That's funny, man.
It was really hilarious. That was good. And I remember doing session with Jeff Porcaro. I thought that was really great. And I remember it was shortly before he passed, doing a session. What I really dug about Jeff is that he would do 2 takes, at least on this I was doing. It was a oh man, who is I can't remember the artist. Yeah, it's back there somewhere. But he would do 2 takes, and that was it. I'm sitting back, I'm lighting a joint. That was his thing. 2 takes.
2 takes. Well, I'm not surprised to hear that because in Lukather's book, he talks about. I had him on the show here. He mentioned it when we did the interview. He said something about, "Look, man, all these people you go in the studio, they have you do it 50 times, and they take the first one anyway."
Yeah. Yeah.
So he said that's where you get your best energy coming out of the gate if you're with competent musicians.
Sure.
So I'm
and I thought that was cool though. He would sit back, YouTube. Yeah, we're good. Sit back and light up.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at that.
The track was obvious. Track was brilliant. Yeah, of course. So, but I like the fact that, and this was earlier on in my career, and so I really dug that he established that boundary. It's like, no, I'm not going to do 50 takes because you're searching for something that doesn't exist, you know, like some producers do. They want, oh man, okay, bar 78, let's play the pick up to bar 78 into bar 83. And you do that 15 times. And it's like, what do you want me to do differently? You know, oh, well, I'm just thinking a little, you know, and they make some weird, you know, ridiculous, you know, want it more purple, you know, that kind of thing, that sort of typical joke. But it's that dumb, you know, and I love the fact that he established that boundary. And so I kind of took a cue from that, and I incorporated my version of that in my own session playing. You know, when I knew something was, I'm confident in it, that was great. It's all good. You don't need me to do another 10 times. And like you say, end up still using the one that I just did.
Yeah. The one, because
you just wear people out. It's not, it doesn't help, you know.
Do you know Lee Sklar?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So I have Lee coming on the show soon, and I was doing some prep work for his interview, and I watched an interview he did, and it was really funny. He said that he had this thing that he said it was a switch on his bass. I don't know if it was a switch on his bass or a foot pedal.
The producer knob.
The producer knob. And I was like, how clever is that? That just remediates the exact situation you're talking about.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, man, can you put a little more? And I goes, okay, yeah.
And he goes, I'd have to make sure they saw me engage this thing.
Right.
I thought that was brilliant, man.
Yeah.
And then he said he'd also like accentuate the fingers on that, like, you know, so they would, and all the time they'd go, great, Lee. He goes, it's the exact same thing I just did, but it had to produce, you know, it's like the placebo effect of that was amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Crazy. So Stevie Nicks, Jeff Porcaro, and the third one would be
another great session. Oh man, trying to think. You know, probably. I mean, from a musical standpoint, I used to do for this producer Rick Chudikoff. We had a crew of guys that would work with, and for a lot of his different records. And I just remember it was so much fun. It was Rick Murata playing drums, and Robbie Buchanan playing keyboards, and Jay Graydon playing guitar. And it's like every time we got together and did somebody's record, and it was just magic, you know. And it was, and sometimes Michael Thompson would come play
on guitar.
And man, that was so cool. Dan Huff came in sometimes, actually.
Wow.
Dan
that guy is Steve Ferris amazing.
Was occasionally, you know, on guitar. It seemed like the guitar guys, you know, would rotate a little more, but it was always Rick and Robbie Buchanan. Man, it was just, when you get a group of guys that are so competent and so creative, you know, it's just, and that's where it's 2 takes and everybody's done.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, Jay takes 1 run at the solo and it's like, perfect.
Yeah. Not going to be any better than that next time.
You know, come on in. You know, it's, you know, so that group just made every session just a great time for me. You know?
That's really cool.
I love that. Yeah.
Happy that you got to work in the LA session heyday to experience something like that. It probably changes your life and your whole,
oh yeah.
You know, your, not only your career destiny, but just your appreciation of what you can do musically with the right people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably gives you a much higher bar.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. You know, I have very high expectations of myself and others.
Well, you could tell because, I mean, you know, usually that goes with, the guys that are doing the extra, you know, the work, you know, that the work ethic that tells you everything about somebody. From my perspective, anyway, you always learn a lot about somebody, their work ethic, you know. How you do one thing is how you do everything, kind of.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Like the, you know, the dumbest little gig that with nobody in the audience, but seemingly just a couple of drunks at that table and some couple making out in the back. I swear I've gotten great opportunities that come from gigs just like that I never would have known if I just phoned it in and just kind of, okay, well, this sucks. But I mean, I met some great film score producers at this little Chinese restaurant in Crenshaw, in the hood in LA. And I was playing because my approach has always been take every gig.
Yeah.
And I still do. Somebody calls me up here for a gig in town. Okay, well, pay $60 and it's out in Nolensville and it's 4 hours. I get cool. I'm in because it's for me. It's beneficial to me beyond the money.
Yeah. It's not the $60 you're thinking, I'm going to meet somebody there that's going to bring me in on a tour that might last 6 months.
I know. And that's what happened at this crazy Chinese restaurant that we played at with a terrible saxophone player, but he was known around LA as being a terrible saxophone player, but he was a go-getter. He would get gigs.
Okay.
And so we were doing this gig but I meet this production team and I end up going and playing on their film scores and trailers we would do, and it's union double scale with residuals. And it's like, damn, that came from this one little thing. But I swear, if I had not done the best of my ability, they wouldn't have cared. They wouldn't have come up and said, hey man, we really like what you're doing. I'm sure they would have just thought, oh, well, that band sounds okay, whatever. But
that's
you always got to do 100% every show.
Well, and that also speaks to, things happen when you're out with people. They don't happen, like a lot. And I'm not putting down anybody who has a big YouTube channel or anything like that. I don't really give a shit, to be honest with you. But I don't know that opportunities. This interview I saw with Lee, he said a lot of good things. And he said, I hear those people, like, they can kick my ass technically. He goes, but I don't hear anybody addressing tone, notes, space, pausing. And he goes, and if you want to be great, watch that. If you want to work, address those other things.
Yeah. Oh, that's great advice.
And the other thing though is people, man, I'm on the periphery. I'm not in the music business. I'm working with a bunch of guys in the music business, but I've worked with 600 of them in 2 years. And I can tell you one thing I've learned is that this business, probably more than any other, if you work hard and treat people well, everybody supports you and looks out for you. And I'm a guy who's been working for myself for, 20 something years. And I've never seen that kind of a response in an industry. So that what you just said speaks to that, man. You go out and meet people and do it, whatever you're doing with others, as often as you can. That's a great lesson.
That's key. Yeah. I mean, with all of the conscious networking that I've done in my life and, cold calls or when I moved to a new town or whatever, I don't think I've gotten any gigs from any of that.
Interesting.
It's always been connected to a show that I and so you got to get out there and play, and when you play you got to be your best, and then I mean that's when you can network. I mean, so you're doing a club gig, I mean, you can go do the networking thing, but it's connected to your performance.
Yeah.
You go out and meet people in the crowd and you can do that. So that sort of networking, works out well for me. But the cold calls or emails or, this guy said, call this guy. That's just really never led to anything for me. It's always it always comes down to the in-person contact. So that's why you take a $60 gig across town, because it's not the $60, of course. It's the opportunity that something else is going to lead you to. Yeah. When you do those gigs, so let me ask you this. Do you walk in there thinking, not in an arrogant way, but like something good's coming out? Like, do you walk in there with that optimism, like, something good's coming out of this? I don't know what that is now, but I'll know a month from now or whatever. Yeah.
You have that attitude. Yeah. I think that's important, actually.
Yeah. I always look forward to it, man. It's always, the unknown is always interesting to me.
Yeah.
So
me too.
It's like, here we go. You just say go and something's going to happen.
You just don't know what it is.
I don't know. And so to meet somebody, I don't know who it is. It could be usually nothing, but the times that it is something only happen because I do all of them.
Right.
You know, because it's like you can't just. And what kills me about the young kids, and I don't know how it is anywhere else, but in Nashville, the young kids that are so resistant to doing what I'm saying. That's why I don't deal with young people anymore, because I can't stand it. I can't stand the attitude. They're like, no, I don't want to do that gig. I only want to do, the gigs that, really matter. And it's just, I asked them, I said, how do you know which gigs matter until you do it? How do you know? Oh, well, it's not going to be. How do you know? And I just keep asking that question. And then they eventually just get exasperated and call me an old fart or something.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I've tried to help young people. I've tried to help some young bands here in town, doing some mentoring, like we talked about earlier before we started today. And I just can't deal with it. I don't know if it's just the generation gap, the millennial thing. It's like they don't want to work.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
They want fame. They don't want to work.
Yeah, and I think it's because what they there's so much of that on TV, like all this reality TV. I hate TV. I don't watch TV. I watch documentaries or Netflix. Yeah. I'm just not a TV guy, but I think they see so much of this reality TV, like all these people which are basically quote famous for doing quote nothing. They're just there. They're like, oh shit, cameras are following them around. I want to do that. Well, fuck me personally. I would never want to do that. No, right. I would never have no interest in like somebody watching me order French fries or something, whatever it is they do. I just presume that no one's interested, and I'm not interested in anything else to that. But I think that's a big reason why. And I see articles written by millennials often about our generation is very lazy, and they just, I don't know, man.
And I tell them, I said, you got to take every gig. And then another thing is they don't want to bring their gear. They don't want to have to bring an amp or a drum set.
These are musicians you're talking to?
Yeah.
And they don't want to bring their instrument to their gig.
Yeah, they don't want to have to bring an amp because they have to carry it. I'm saying, how weak are you, man? How weak are you? Come on. Oh, well, yeah, but it only pays. It's not about that.
Yeah, it's not about the money. It's about
where this business. You got to do everything.
Man, it's like you don't get to be. Yeah,
and you got to sound good. You want to just use the piece of crap amp they have there? Well, guess what? Not going to sound good.
You're going to sound like they all want, a lot of these people, they want to be black belts after they're a white belt. They don't want to bother, getting some stripes, yellow, brown, red, whatever the hell the colors are, and I don't, and it's kind of sad because there's a lot of joy in progressing up that ladder. There's a lot of self-satisfaction and there's a lot of sense of accomplishment and confidence building and all that stuff, and then as you're getting up there, the camaraderie, the people you're associating with, the friends, and I don't understand. I don't get that. It's just weird. But I've seen it myself.
Yeah. So that's why I don't deal with young people anymore. No?
Yeah.
Not interested. I can't help you because you don't want to do what I have to say.
No, you gotta help yourself a little bit. That's before anybody else can help you, right?
Yeah.
Vail, do you have any other side hustles going, either in the music business, doing things besides conventional touring and sessions, or outside of music completely? So I know some guys.
Well, I've been thinking about getting into contract killing. I think that's it's a growth industry.
You have a good name for an assassin, actually. Vail Johnson. That's like a very, it's like a James Bond. It's like a very, classy assassin name.
I could see getting into that maybe in my retirement, as a side, but well, no, just my solo shows.
Solos, yeah.
That's it. And I'm doing, I still do a number of sideman gigs, and I'm still touring with Kenny, and as we speak. I just got back yesterday, and we actually have I think we have 50 more shows before the end of the year.
50?
Yeah. We've got another 50 left.
That's great. Do you know Keb Mo West by any chance? Jim Keb Mo West? He plays with Weird Al.
I know I've met him. I know that name. Yes.
Because I
don't know him. I know that name though.
He's been with Weird Al Yankovic for like 30 years, I'm going to say.
Yeah. Right, right.
You're the longest tenured person I think I've interviewed. That's 33 years. It's just pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's great that you're still like 50 gigs between now and the end of the year. There's only 3 months left of the year. That's great, man. Any advice, if you can go back and give young Vail Johnson advice, is there any advice you might have given yourself, made things easier anyway, musically, business, personal?
Wow. Let's see. I think the only thing would be, don't waste so much money on silly things. It's really just about that.
Sure.
Other than that, musically, I don't think. No. Musically, I think everything was. I think it was all good.
Yeah, sounds great.
I can't imagine because I think a lot of stuff came out of what people might term as a mistake or a bad decision. I think I got a lot of stuff out of all the good and the bad.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just because of the examples that were set really by my older brothers. I learned a lot from them.
Yeah.
Just by osmosis. We never talked about, any serious issues really, but I'd learned by watching. I learned by watching and listening to them and seeing what they did in their lives. And I think it was just going forward with, doing the best you can do, which means putting work into what you're doing. It's not, and because that can be a cop out for some people and say, oh, well, I did the best I could do. But, well, no, you didn't, because how many hours did you prepare for that gig that you said you did the best you could do? Did you put in 3 hours of work in the previous week, or did you do 50 hours of work?
Yeah.
Well, I did a little bit every day. Well, okay, you didn't do the best you could do.
Yeah.
The best you could do was do everything before. So I kind of learned that from my brothers. It wasn't a conscious strategy. I just always did that. So
yeah,
a gig's coming up, and I'm working my ass off to make sure it's the best. And then when comes time for the gig or the session or the show or whatever, it's like all the work has been done. So it's already great. So
it's almost easy at that point.
I feel like the gig is already over.
Yeah.
I've already done it in a way. It's, something that came to mind. I don't know when I was trying to describe this to someone else is the movie Heaven Can Wait with Warren Beatty. Did you ever see that?
No, I know the movie. It's a really old movie. Yeah.
But his thing was he was given a pep talk to his he was a football player in real life, but he got put into this other body of a businessman. So he given a pep talk to his business. And he's talking about the preparation that we need to do. He's talking about the end of the year, the fiscal year being the Super Bowl. And he's saying, well, we're going to do all of this, and we're going to do this, all this prep. And he said, and we're going to get to the Super Bowl, and when we get there, let's already have won.
Right.
I thought about that, and I saw that movie. It was, 30, 40 years ago,
Yeah.
And I thought about that, and I said, that's how I want all my gigs to be. It's like when I get there, I want it to have already been a great show. There's downbeat. I'm thinking that was a great show. And I think that because it's like, the thing prepares so much that when you get there, let's already have won.
Yeah, that's a great mindset.
So I do that. So all that prep and the gig time comes and people say, oh man, do you ever get nervous? I said, I'm never nervous on a show. Because it's like I say, people just say, go. And it just comes and it happens. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be nervous about.
That's a great.
If you didn't do your homework, you might be a little nervous because you're not quite sure. But if you did your homework, man, it's just a joy. It's just like I hit the switch and you play, and about 10 seconds later the show's over. And you just play 2 hours. Because I put in all that time. All that time that I don't spend playing stupid ass games on my cell phone. I'm preparing for the gig, and it's not necessarily just literally hands-on this. I mean, there's a lot of things about it. A lot of things with your gear or the production of my solo show.
Sure.
There's a lot of things that go into it. playing is the one part, and practicing singing, of course, but it's making arrangements, it's making set lists, it's making all of this stuff. You do all that in advance. You get to the gig, it's already done.
That's such good advice, man.
Then it's just all fun, man. If you're, this is what I think. Now, this is broadly speaking, psychological issues notwithstanding. If you're nervous on a show, you didn't prepare enough, and it's your damn fault. And I hope you screw up so you can learn your lesson. I hope that unison line that you're worried about, I hope it fails spectacularly, because the next time you do your damn homework and you're going to play the line.
Yeah. You only need to learn that lesson once, hopefully. Yeah. It totally makes sense.
Some people don't ever, right? But yeah, it's like, man, if you're nervous on a gig, it's on you, man. Why are you nervous? What are you nervous about? Well,
totally.
I don't know. Well, what did you do the last 2 weeks before the show? Oh, well, I was on vacation. We went to the beach, and well, okay. Were you nervous at the beach?
You should have been.
Were you nervous when you went out to dinner? Oh, well, no. Why would I be nervous? Right, because you already know how to eat. You know how to lay in the sand. You want to do your gig, man. You got to know how to do your damn gig.
Yeah.
And when you get to the gig, it's already done. There's nothing to be nervous about.
Man, I think that's wonderful advice.
No, well, thanks. I know it comes off harsh. This is why millennials can't stand me.
No, it's great advice, man. No,
because I would say, man, you do your work, and when you get to the gig, that's the last thing you should ever be nervous at, is at a gig. It's like, man, you got to. Now, this is the fun. Now it's a joyful expression of your musicality.
Yeah,
that's what a gig should be. You should never be nervous.
I was I was a really good student in school, and I was not because I was super smart. I did so much prep work, and that's what reminds me of it. And we get to the test, and people say, man, are you nervous? I'm like, no, because I was so prepared. I had studied my ass off days and days and nights, and I usually did well, and I was never nervous. And that's I did not articulate this then, but it's what you're talking about.
Yeah. And that's something I learned from my brother Ron. He was the best at that. He was a percussionist in the Seattle Symphony for 45 years.
Holy smokes!
He passed away a few years ago. Cancer got him, man.
Man, sorry.
It's got two of my brothers already.
I'm sorry.
But man, he taught me that, and because I remember going. It's a pretty broad span. My the oldest brother is 75. So it's like. He taught me essentially, just by example, though, that if you play perfectly, you can do anything else that you want on a gig. You can screw around, you can have fun, you can laugh, you can joke, enjoy yourself, but you got to play it perfectly. And he's a classical percussionist, and he's up there in a tuxedo. And he's playing these 4 mallet parts, just amazingly complex things. And he's up there, man, and he's like, oh, yeah. He's having a great time. And he's saying, you got it. If you play it perfectly, have a ball. He
was just super prepared.
Yeah. And he would be like that. And that's when I said, man, that's great. And, not everybody subscribes to that. They think that you need to be very serious, focused, serious music, But man, when I'm playing music, I just have it's a joy for me, and I that always comes out.
And that's why you get up. But that's why you've gotten all those gigs, because that comes out.
I guess it does. Man,
that's 100%.
Yeah.
Man, I've talked to shit tons of musicians and a lot of bass players. I haven't heard. And some great bass players, but I haven't heard anybody coming over to them with this frequency and saying, hey, come be the musical guest on my TV show or stuff like that. It just doesn't happen. It's not conventional. Guitar players, sure, once in a while, because of their, they're the center of attention usually in the band.
Sure.
And the solo and stuff like that.
The lead instrument and all.
Yeah.
You can be more flamboyant, and it's more a part of that thing.
Yeah, it's more par for the course, But I don't see bass players doing that, man.
No, no, I don't. Yeah, I
Good
don't
for
either.
you.
There's something different about it for sure. But
Oh,
it's just, yeah, it's just such a joy. I mean, I could do a Keb Mo, plan a Keb Mo thing, and a lot of that stuff is really, we're sticking to the parts. It's really important because you just got 2 guitar players and 2 keyboard players, and so everybody has parts we need to really stick with because it's got to fit. One guy goes off, all of a sudden it's, because we're playing counter rhythms and parts that really are important. So it's important to play a part. And if I have a part that's just, I'm not just, I'm keyed in with the drummer Les, and I'm like, and we're just freaking on it. I can just play that. I just play that for 10 minutes, and it's just, I can do just that. And I'm having a ball, and just having a ball with it, because it's part of the whole, and everybody else is playing over it and they're doing their thing. And I'm just staying at home, and I don't need to play any other notes. I can play a whole song. He does one, no changes to it. And it's like that. We're playing for
the whole
7
song.
minutes.
Wow.
And I don't do that. I think I have one fill. There's one spot where I'll go, and that's it.
Wow.
And that's it. And I just lay into it, man. But it just feels good. It just feels good. And the drummer's just, and nothing, no fills, no nothing. And the guitar's going crazy over it. But it's just, when you're a part of the team like that, man, it feels good,
But a lot of this is your attitude too, man. Just the enthusiasm. Are you like this in your personal life? Do you look at the glass half full?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. See, that comes across, because when you look at the glass half full, everything around you feels better. People around you feel better about you, because a lot of people would just look at that and like, oh shit, but you're not looking at it like that. You're looking at that, man, I'm going to groove and get into this and enjoy it and lock in with the drummer.
Yeah.
Why, and then you have a better time and everybody else around you has a better time.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And it's when you mentioned about Lee Sklar in his interview, that's when it comes down to the tone and the attack and how long is each note. And it really makes a difference then, because anybody can do, do that. But it's then all of a sudden there's all these subtleties.
It's this, right. You mentioned that earlier, the subtleties though, that's what takes something from like, a B+ to an A or a B- to an A. Because those in anything you're doing, any talent, anything, it's the little ways and that's what I've noticed. And that makes you from good to great. It's those things that a lot of people don't pay attention to, but they're out there for those that want them,
Right. Right.
Yeah, man. Hey, tell me sorry.
Stuff makes a difference. Yeah.
Yeah. A huge difference, man. Top Desert Island discs, top 3. No particular order, just for now.
Okay. Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy. Earth, Wind and Fire, Gratitude. And that's their double live album. Really unbelievably awesome. And there would be Return to Forever, Romantic Warrior.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's a pretty good selection, man. Very you covered everything.
Yeah, I just saw Earth, Wind. We played together in Caracas a couple weeks back.
Is there anybody original in that band anymore?
Just Philip Bailey and Ralph Johnson and Verdine. Basically.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah.
But they sounded freaking great, man. It was so much fun.
That's
it was
nice.
so fun. I was on the side of the stage. My buddy Ron, the percussionist in Kenny's band, we're on the side of the stage with a couple other people. We were just dancing the whole set. It was awesome, man. We're carrying cool, on. Man. It was and they've been doing it for, they've been doing it 50 years.
That's amazing.
50th anniversary of Earth, Wind and Fire.
That's crazy.
And Verdine's still got that curl that doesn't quite wrap all the way, just it's very shiny though. Very shiny. He's got a lot of shine.
That's awesome, man.
He's a great guy. He's really fun. Verdine White, man. Great player, really fun guy.
Best decision you ever made, Vail?
Best decision I ever made, to marry my wife, Denise.
How long you been together?
Well, not that long. It's been 15 years married, been together for 18, I guess.
Good for
But
you, man. Congratulations.
first marriage for the both of us, and we waited till we were grown ups, and
Good for you, man.
it's been great because she has been so unbelievably influential in positive ways for me. It's been really great.
That's good, man. I'm glad. Congratulations.
Yeah. She challenges me, which I think people need.
Oh my
People
God, yeah.
need to be challenged. She challenges me because she's smarter than I am, and more accomplished in her business. That she's a lawyer, and she's awesome.
Does she return your calls?
Was that?
Did she return your calls?
Not always.
I never met a lawyer that returns calls.
I talked her into giving that up in LA, and she was a lawyer out there, and she's not doing it here. She's a kept woman now.
Good for you, man. I'm glad you have 18 years, a long time. Congratulations. I'm glad you're happy.
Yeah, for the music business, yeah, it's kind of a long time.
But you know what, though? It's interesting. Most of the guys that I talk to that are in long-term relationships, they're like effusively happy about that. That's like and I think it's really important that people understand that, hey, I'm out on the road. That's what I do for a living. I can't be here and you need support. And then like what you just said, the support part, I think that's just really important in life, to have that person.
Sure.
And it seems like, it happens more.
Very important.
Yeah. I mean, it's been important for me. I know that.
So it's good stuff, man. Yeah.
The best. It's a tough question. What do you like most about yourself?
I like my sense of humor. I think I'm funny.
You are. Best childhood memory?
Best childhood memory. Probably when I in sixth grade. Well, I had this bone disease when I was a kid in fourth grade, and I wasn't able to walk.
Oh my God!
In a wheelchair.
Holy shit!
And they didn't think I was going to be able to walk again because my hip was all screwed up from this disease. And when I was able to walk again, right, like the summer before sixth grade, that's my best memory. Being able to walk.
Being able to walk again.
Being able
Holy
to walk.
Shit!
That was really cool. That was pretty awesome.
Wow. Yeah. Is everything cleared with that?
No. Oh no.
You still have like, are you okay or like?
But I had that hip replaced, and that fixed it. But I had it replaced 6 years ago. It finally gotten so bad that I couldn't hardly.
Wow, you're on your feet all day as a musician too.
Yeah.
But you're in pretty good shape. I saw you when we met at NAMM. You exercise, you take care of yourself, obviously, right?
Oh yeah, every day.
Yeah. You seem like you're in really good shape.
Always have, yeah. But that was a great memory. That was great, being able to walk again, because doctors were saying they didn't think that I would be able to, like, ever. So that was kind of my reality at the time when I was able to, and I was able to stand up again. That was a big deal. Yeah, that was a real big deal.
Wow, man, that's heavy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. You know what? It always amazes me here you are, and you look at the glass half full instead of half empty. So, and you had this terrible thing to deal with as a kid. Why do some people do that? And they're like bitter and acrimonious about everything, even though it worked out.
Right.
But I'm sure there's been some difficulties, and other people are not. And I always marvel at that. I just think it's just really cool that.
Yeah, I'm happy that for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I got the positive attitude out of it. So I don't know if it's it's cultural or
nature or nurture. It's hard to say.
I don't know, but I mean, my family was always, for whatever effect that could have, with my brothers and my dad especially too. I mean, it was really positive. They were super positive and stuff. So it was kind of like you can do anything, whatever you feel like doing. So I definitely got that.
That's great.
So
we'll talk about it. What's
that all the time?
That's something to be grateful for, man. Most important thing your dad taught you?
I would say to be forthright.
Speak your mind. Speak your piece. Yeah. How about your mom? Most important thing she taught you?
But to be genuine and to be honest and all that. Yeah. And my mom she taught me how to be creative. She taught me how to be creative. She was extremely creative. And that was definitely a big deal. That's the creativity's coming from her side. That's not on my dad's side. So I had the benefit of both very disparate philosophies of life. Both of them. So I feel like I came out with both of those attitudes. Because I have the hardworking, straightforward, be a genuine and honest person, and then I have the anything goes. Let's be creative. Let's explore everything. Let's ask questions, and so I got both of that.
That's cool.
Kind of cool.
Was your dad a musician? No, he wasn't.
No.
What did your dad do?
He was a manager of an A&P.
Wow, A&P. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, back when they still had him, and they disappeared from the West Coast first. But yeah, he ended up being a manager. He had gone to a business college and went up through the ranks and was a manager of a big grocery store. That
is a very tough job. People don't realize how difficult that job is, man.
It was a lot of hours.
A lot of hours. You got tons of people underneath you. You got a lot of responsibility, big budget, big dollars. Yeah, that you're responsible for. It's a tough job. Yeah.
Yeah, but A&P, I know. I knew that you'd get a kick out of that because I know they were all over the Northeast.
Yeah, they were all over A&P. I haven't heard that in so long. Wow.
I'm going down to the A&P. You never hear that anymore.
No. That's so funny. The A&P. You have any hobbies outside of music?
Well, I've always been into sports. Up even through college. I played sports, and so always into that. And when I've really worn out all my joints. I've had knee replacements and other.
Holy shit!
But I've really worn myself out because I was hardcore contact sports person, and it definitely just wore me out. So I can't really play anything else anymore. But I was always really into that. But now with the hobbies outside, that would be, I'm still into motorcycling, because it doesn't take a lot of effort. So, but I've been into motorcycling my whole life. So I like to ride and
you're in a nice place to ride on these nice country roads too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I travel. I mean, I'll go across country. That's what I like to do.
On your bike.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I've probably ridden at least 500,000 miles. I figure.
Wow.
In my lifetime, yeah, because I would do 40,000 miles a year, just pleasure riding.
Wow, that's why. Does your wife ride with you now?
No,
she don't ride.
Not interested. No.
Wow. So motorcycling. Anything else?
Yeah. Music and motorcycling, and it's still getting into the gym, on a daily basis, just maintenance, keeping things going. So I and just keep it going,
And it's funny. I don't think I'm the same. I'm in there every day, and 5 days a week, and I don't think. I mean, I realize the benefit, but it's hard when you do that. It's hard to realize it. But I see, and I'm sure the same thing happens. So you see your peers, age-wise, that have not done that.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I remember I had a knee problem a few years back, and I went to the doctor. I'm like, man, and he goes, hey man, you think you're having problems? You should see the people that don't work out. And I was like, really?
Right. Yeah.
He goes, just trust me. He goes, you're fine. You're doing all right. So 2 more questions. Best advice you've ever been given, and who gave it to you, if you remember?
Advice.
That was a great segue line.
Wow. Best advice. I mean, it's a great question. I'm trying to think. Because I feel like I've learned, I've been taught by example.
That's fine.
When I was young, and I think that's how I've kind of received that's sort of how I receive advice, if you will, or that's how I learn. I seem to learn that way, as opposed to actually someone, literally telling me something. I can't really think of anything.
What would be the thing that you learned from example that was most important to you? And maybe you talked about it already, the preparation thing.
I think it's really about the work ethic, the work strategy thing that I got from my brother Ron, is, learning about, you got to be able to play it perfect, and playing perfect is a legitimate goal, especially in classical music.
Yeah.
It's not any improvisation, but you're putting everything you have into playing a certain part. But so his goal is always, you play it perfect, you can do anything else you want. You can have fun with it. You can have a ball. It's great. You can play practical jokes on your band. You can do all of that stuff, but the work product has to be perfect. That's what I learned.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And the last question, Vail, is what's been the biggest change in your personality over the last 10 years? And
the biggest change in my personality, I've actually come to appreciate people more than I used to.
Why
people
is that?
have become more interesting, and I've and this is a direct influence from my wife. Like I talked about how important that was, how a great decision was. But she's helped me to understand how important people are. She helped me realize that I really never was the lone wolf that I thought I was. I always just thought I was a lone wolf, and so I sort of kept barriers up, not because I had a conscious, I wasn't afraid of people or socially awkward or anything, but I always just thought I was the lone wolf. I figured it's just me. I can count on me, and I just do it all myself and kind of thing. But she's helped me understand more, about people in general, and I realized that I kind of always wanted more relationships with people, more friendships, and but I always I think I self-limited that because how I grew up was very much, kind of a lone wolf thing in a lot of ways.
Really interesting. Let me ask you this: have you in your life been good about asking for help?
No.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Are you better now?
Yes. And that's one of the things that Denise has helped me to understand, and it's been a huge thing for me. But I was the last person to ask for help. I always figured I had to just do it myself, and if I couldn't do it myself, then that was just how it had to be. As I really just didn't want to ask for help.
Yeah, I get that.
That's funny. It's funny that you knew to ask that question, though. And so that's good.
Because I'm the same way, man. Because I always used to limit people because of how I grew up, and now just literally over in the last few years, I've been really working on that, and I've recognized that, and I know one of the things I never did was ask for help. Ever, not because it was like, well, I'm fucking Craig Garber who need, no, that wasn't a word in my lexicon.
Yeah.
It wasn't like,
we're kindred spirits in that way.
Man, we'll talk about this after the interview. That's interesting, man. That's cool. Well, I bet you feel better though now, right? Less stress.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know. All right, man. That's cool. Well, I'm glad we connected on that. Hey, listen, man, first of all, thank you for everything. I really appreciate your time. You're a great guy, great player. I got to see you play at NAMM. It was awesome. I'd love to see the, Around the World in 40 Years show. Is it true you're playing the blue banjo?
I played the blue banjo.
I said, is it true you're playing at the blue banjo?
Yeah. At the Blue Banjo, yeah, the club, yeah. No, that place sadly does not exist anymore.
Yeah, I figured as much. I just wrote that down earlier. I figured you'd get a kick out of that.
It was good.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell people where to find you. First of all, it's Vail Johnson, Vail Johnson, and vailjohnson.com. And he's got 6 CDs out. His last CD, The Seventh Son, I would like you to check that out. It's available everywhere CDs are sold, streamed, and all that kind of good stuff. Vail's on Facebook as well, so you can connect with him there. He also posts when he's touring and when he's doing around the world in 40 years. So check that out. I think it'd be a great show. He's also available. Anybody that is a professional player, he is available for lessons and mentoring. And is there a contact tab on your website for them to reach out to you? What's the best? Or do you want them to hit you up? Okay, great.
Yeah,
so,
they just email me.
Go to vailjohnson.com and reach out on the contact tab. Just don't say, hey, I want to be mentored by you. Just, give them some history, what's going on in your career and what you're looking for. And then, if it's a fit, I'm sure he'll reach out to you. Also, if you are a player and you're looking for lessons, but you got to be a committed player, ideally, very serious about your playing. If you're not playing out with people, very serious and at least intermediate playing level, and you're looking for help from a guy that's been in this business for 40 years, or maybe more, but he's only 35, so I don't know how the numbers work. But he's been in this a long time. Same thing, reach out on his contact tab. Again, it's at Vail Johnson. Any final words of wisdom?
Just this.
Oh, yeah. Bring the funk, brother. There you go. That was great. Well, hang on. Let me wrap up. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it on your social media channels and with your friends. Please check out Vail Johnson and what he's doing musically. He's got some great stuff going on around the world in 40 years. A brilliant show. Check him out with Kenny G. Do you guys could stick around after the show? Like if someone walked over to you and said, I heard you. I get letters now, like all the time. This guy just sent me a letter. He's in the band called Letters to Cleo. He goes, I was leaving a movie theater with my girlfriend the other day, and a guy comes over to me. He goes, man, you're a great guitarist. And he goes, and I assumed he saw me playing with Letters to Cleo. And he goes, oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. He goes, yeah, I'd never heard of you before. I heard you on Everyone Loves Guitar, and I follow you now on Instagram. I'm a big fan of your players. So
cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was thrilled that it happened. So I don't know if you talk to people or not. So just reach out, say hello to Vail, and tell them you heard the show here. And that's about it. Make sure you go to everyonelovesguitar.com, sign up to get on our newsletter list so you and I can connect. And most important, remember that happiness is a choice. So choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar or your bass, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I'm out. Vail, thank you for everything, brother.
Thanks, Greg.